So I wanted to go over some best practices if you're a math teacher and using Zaption. You may have used some other platforms and found some frustrations with using an equation editor or the inability to use an equation editor, and I found Zaption a really nice option being a math teacher myself. So here's a video that I have, and these questions that I put in are not going to really be related to this video. I'm just using it to demonstrate. So one really nice thing about Zaption is that you can ask questions side by side. So right here, I could be asking a question about the equation that's on the left side of my screen. So viewers will still be able to see this slide while they're answering this question here. If I add in another question and say that I wanted to actually put a math equation here, I can go ahead and do that by using the math button. And so I can just type in x squared plus 5x plus 2. I can also put in something a little more complex like a square root. And I can even use integrals. And then there's a lot more documentation for things that you can add in, but the equations work quite nicely, as you can see. One thing that you cannot do is put any equations here for your multiple choice options. So I just wanted to show you a quick little go around that I use. So I have the question here on the right, and I just put in some answer choices, calling them A, B, C, and D. And then on this left-hand side, what I do is I actually put in an image slide. And this is just an image. I had just made this in PowerPoint where I could use the equation editor. And then I just put that on the left-hand side of my screen. And I make sure that that element right there pauses the video on the start. And then I put the question and the multiple choice options here on the right that correlate to these multiple choice options here. So that's kind of a way to get around not being able to put the multiple choice options here in the answer choices. So in that same light, and please disregard this video that I have going on right here, but oftentimes you want to ask a question about a graph. So one of my favorite ways to graph is to use Desmos, the Desmos Calculator, and say I have a graph, y equals 5x cubed plus 10x squared, and say I want to just like identify the maxes and mins here. There we go. So then what I do is, I just resize it as I see fit, and I just like to take a quick little screenshot. Boom. And then I go back to my Zaption tour. So then I might just go ahead and put the image on the right hand side in this case, because that graph was pretty small. And then I can resize and move around as I see fit. And then I can just plop in the multiple choice question right here. A lot of times I like to black out the screen like that so that you can ask a question. Then once I put in my answer choices, I can select the one that is correct. And so that's how I can ask a question about a graph. So I will leave you with some tips and tricks for using the math formatting in Zaption. I hope that that helps, and I hope that you left some other ways that you might use Zaption and the math formatting to your advantage.